This is so frustrating. I don't know why my sound is doing
I don't know why anything is happening. So I think by now we are probably live again, even though they try to act like we're not live until we've already been live. But hello and welcome back to Party Trick Astrology. I'm Nina.
that. I'm Shaina.
And this is a live Drag Me show. A Drag Me is a service that we provide on our website, partytrickastrology.com. And here we are just going to drag Adam, Ruby, and Julia's birth charts because they want that. And yeah, that's what we're going to do today. And if you want to get your chart dragged, you can go to partytrickastrology.com/shop. So much smoother the second time around. Hopefully it will still be smooth as we go through this. Let's just wait for Adam to make his presence known so that we can go right back into his Drag Me. We're basically starting this all over. So sorry to our Drag Me clients today that your times are a bit running late. Hopefully it's not interfering with the plans of the rest of your day. So hello, what's up everyone? Adam, where are you at?
And also, if anybody knows how, for me, I'm on my iPad to make my screen like the wide version, just add that in the comments real quick. I'll do it because I don't know.
Maybe is your screen locked?
Maybe.
Maybe you just have to unlock your screen.
Wait, whoa, now it's all black. Okay. Wait, did that work?
Oh, it did!
It's that simple. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Oh my god, what was that? Oh my god. Okay, I'll give it a second. Sorry. Yeah. That's all we need here. Now I'm on a weird. Now I'm just at a weird angle, but it works. Okay. What is what's what's Adam's name in the like
I can tell you that on live stream. Let me put that in for you.
Okay, this is better. Right, no, okay, so that's just okay. For some reason I thought I don't know why I never saw that name on whatever. So yeah, we're still, if you guys ever want to watch back that terrible last Zoom video, more than welcome. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
This has actually been happening to us in our private readings a little bit. Shaina's been having some technical difficulties and we don't know what's going on. Sorry for all of this confusion, and we'll get right to it once Adam makes his presence known in the chat. Jess Duran asks, how are you girls? Clearly, we're a bit of a mess at the moment, but besides that, we're holding in there. We're hanging in there in life.
Yeah, now my phone's not saving the time right. What is this error that keeps on happening? Now I can't even pull up the birth chart. It's going great.
Oh my goodness. How are you guys with current readings? So things have been a little up in the air with our whole scheduling process. We're trying to do a little bit of catch up at the moment, but hopefully it won't, interfere with everything. Oh my God, thank you, Taylor Wright. That video just went live like less than an hour ago, so thank you.
All right, let's see if I can do it on here, because now Adam's chart isn't pulling up. It's just saying it has an error every time.
We're not in Mercury retrograde at the moment.
But I live in a perpetual one, so.
Natal Mercury retrograde, and I think we're still in the shadow period. We might not be. We're in the shadow period of the Venus retrograde still until the end of this month. Why are people in the chat saying that I owe them money?
Yeah?
Yeah, someone says I need money from Nina. And someone
Oh,
else,
is that the same person that's just insane?
Nina,
Random
give
stuff?
me money too.
Yeah.
As far as I know, all of my debts are paid. In fact, I have no debts.
Okay. Done. I got it finally.
Okay. We just need Adam to make his presence known in the chat because we don't want to start without him, but at the same time, it is 11:20.
Yeah, we do need to get going. And I don't know what happened because you're just.
Yeah, he was
you
just
just-
here. And Ruby's here and she's the next one up, and we don't want to, you know, prolong her waiting
Do you
period.
want to do Ruby's now since Ruby's here and just go back?
Should we do that?
I
Let's
mean,
do Ruby. Ruby is here. Let's do Ruby, and then we'll
yeah.
just get Adam over again.
Okay.
It's been a crazy, crazy day so far already. Okay, Ruby, let's get into you.
And
So,
your chart is working, so.
oh wait, Adam's right here.
Oh.
What do we do?
Where?
Because Adam is True Blows S.
That's what I meant. What's the username when I asked earlier?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant what was. Anyway.
Okay.
Let's get into Adam, okay?
I'm going back.
We just really psyched you up.
We're redoing the time. Here we go. We're starting now. Done. Okay. Because I paused it. Okay. So let's see.
Let's move on from your IC and your MC, which we talked, we talked about that in the little live video that we did. So what have we got going on for you here? You've got lots of 8th house stuff, but you have Neptune in the 7th house, and this is what I want to drag at the moment. Neptune in the 7th house. Crazy. What are you going to do when you have Neptune in the 7th house? Like, as someone who has Neptune in the 7th house, I really don't know how to work with this this placement. Or, I mean, I'm okay with it now, but definitely it provides a lot of struggles when you're at that beginning point of dating, when you just met someone, because you have no option but to just like imagine the absolute best future possible with them from the very beginning, like whether you even like them or not. Like, I went on, like, years ago, I went on a date with someone that I was like not even that into, and I was like, oh my god, this is what our kids' names would be.
Oh my god.
Everything. It's like you can't help it. And I'm like, I really don't know, like, because I know that I have Neptune in the 7th house. So I'm like, okay, this is not realistic, Nina. What are you doing? This is just your Neptune in the 7th house acting up. But at the same time, like, I can't stop myself. I'm like, oh, their last name is, I'm gonna make up some last name just because. Oh, their last name is Donald. So our children's name would be Nina Donald Jr. Oh, that sounds so great, even though that fucking doesn't.
But your Neptune in the 7th house will make it sound great. And you're like, if I sing it sing-songy in my head, it'll be pretty cute.
Yeah, and it's like you just see the absolute best in anyone that you're kind of like, because you see relationships as the best thing in the world, especially with 8th house energy. Like, you're really looking for this melding together with another person and becoming whole with another person, that like what are you going to do? You just see relationships as the most perfect thing. Once you're in a relationship, your whole life will be sorted. And so you are so ready to paint on all of your hopes and dreams onto whatever person you are on a single day with, even if you do. And plus Pluto in the 5th house. Scorpio ruled 5th house with Pluto in the 5th house. This, I love just like casually reading people who have either Scorpio in the 5th house or Pluto in the 5th house, because I tell them straight up, like, you could have a one night stand, but they will forever be the one who got away. Like, there's no such thing as casual affairs with you.
Yeah, I think that might be more Scorpio in the 5th house, because definitely my Pluto in Sagittarius in the 5th house with like Libra ruling it. I can get away with that sometimes, but I think that was specifically Scorpio and Scorpio Mars in the 5th house. Like, you've got to be that kind of way. Like, you've got to like the idea of that stuff with like a Venus and Aries. But yeah, like Nina says, like that'll be the one that got away. That'll be the person you hang on to. Or if you don't like dream of it, it'll be like the biggest regret of your life, and it'll like stick with you, and like you feel like it imprints on you, and you're like, you know, and it's like crying, like yeah, it's never just like haha, hee hee, woo, you know.
What's funny about that Venus and Aries and Mars and Scorpio is like, yes, everything that we're saying is true, whether you like it or not. You can't have one night stands and you're forever, like all of that stuff. And then Venus and Aries just always wants what it hasn't fully conquered. It's like that's just the modus operandi of Venus and Aries, just like conquer the next one, conquer the next one, loves the chase, loves the chase. So 4 year or 40 years down the line, you're married to someone and you're like, finally, I have my 7th house and 8th house fulfilled. And you're like, but that one person that I had a one night stand with one time in college, I never fully conquered them. So they're the one that got away. Like that's your Aries in that side of the equation.
Yes, and to go back for a second, so with your Neptune in the 7th house, specifically with the energies Neptune in Aquarius with the 7th house in Capricorn, so your 7th house in Capricorn is not going to get as much like suitors, I don't know what to call them, like people that you're interested, like crushes, like you know that you want, because your Neptune in Aquarius in the 7th house wants to just be like, oh, I like being in love, or like not even as seriously as in love, just like finding a new crush is like something to entertain yourself with and something that you like thinking about and fantasizing about. But with Capricorn, you're not going to get it as much. But specifically, so like what you might do is like, oh well, this person's around all the time, so then I must like them. So you probably just like put stuff on people like that, even if you don't really, just because the idea of like getting to fantasize about it matters more than who that person actually is. And I was reading for somebody kind of recently that had this combination in their 7th house, and they just could not, like they were like, I need to, like they were about your age. They're like, I need to know if the person I'm with is the one. Like they the one? Like they like kept on asking me, and I'm like, I can't tell you that. Like I can tell you guys are compatible. I can tell you this or that, but I like they just needed somebody to, because of that Neptune in the 7th house like isn't sure, can't tell, and so they need, and that Capricorn in the 7th house like needs to know yes or no, black or white, are they perfect or not. So it's like you want to hear somebody say like yes. And also with their relationship, like you could tell they're like, this is the kind of like, I'm trying to have like the quirkiest, craziest, cutest relationship ever. Like we're so different, we're so unique. Like how can our relationship be so unique without like Neptune and Aquarius thing? Like you guys need to be the two most special snowflakes in the world, you know?
Yeah, I think Neptune and Aquarius is definitely snowflake syndrome to the max. Just like that is just the epitome of that generation.
Yeah, but especially you too, because you've got Uranus in Aquarius in the 8th house conjunct your Lilith. So you're like, give me originality or give me death.
I want to get to dragging your Aries Libra interception, especially with your Venus in Aries intercepted. What a Venus, my dude. We actually just a little while ago we read for someone who has this exact same thing going on, but that was a serious reading and this is a drag. So yeah, this Venus sucks. It's in its detriment and it's intercepted, not to mention the domicile ruler of Venus, Libra, is also intercepted. So it's kind of like the opposite of me. I have my Mars in its detriment intercepted, and my Mars ruled sign Aries is also intercepted. So you're like me, except that I know everything about love and nothing about anger. And you know everything about brooding anger because your Mars is in Scorpio and nothing about love. And what is it? It's fucking typical. It's Libra intercepted in the 4th house. So just like your parents didn't love each other and you never understood what love, what a relationship should look like. And you also
Yeah, it's kind of like they sacrifice love for routine and for like security in the sense of always having like the Virgo, like being taken care of in that personal way.
And there's also the fact that, like, I was talking about this with our client. You are also a client but with our serious client, and you are just a drag me client, about how she kind of moved around a lot. And I think that that might be something like with Libra intercepted in the fourth house, because it's like value. Venus has a lot to do with value, and not having it in the fourth house could mean that like you don't have property, like you don't have any feeling of like, this is my home. Not to mention your sun is in conjunct your ascendant, which can mean that like I'm just like getting really big, because our charts are somewhat similar. I'm getting really big like first generation American or immigrant vibes
Or
from,
move, either way, at some point they move.
yeah, or just like move and instability with like what is home. That's fourth house interception. And then that sun in conjunct ascendant is this feeling of like no one sees you for who you really are. Like it's really hard for people to see you for not who you really are, but like your sense of self doesn't match up with what other people perceive you to be. Like they misunderstand like what you're trying to communicate. And then there's that Libra interception of like what are social norms, especially as an Aquarius sun. Like what are, like I always say, it feels like everyone else got a rule book on how to behave as a human and you just didn't get it, and you're just trying to figure out like how do you behave like a normal person. Everyone else seems to be able to do it fine, but I just don't get it.
I want to drag your moon in Gemini in the 12th house. I was actually just reading for somebody, and they're just somebody I know in real life that has a Cancer rising, and they have Gemini energy in their 12th house majorly. And I kind of worked for her, and we were doing this, like, we were having like a kind of meeting thing, right? And she was like it's very Gemini in the 12th house. She was like, "Oh my god, I brought alcohol!" like being very like I don't know how to explain it, but like Sagittarius versus Gemini partying. Like Gemini partying is like just these little like I wish I could, like, it's like cheesy. It's a little like cheesy, but like still wanting to be cool and have fun, and like genuinely is like I need alcohol, I need to escape, but it's like like I don't know how to describe it, but it can just get corny, I guess. And like I mean I have Gemini in the 12th house, so I understand. But I just feel like because Gemini and Pisces square, and I think of like Gemini fantasy is very like it takes the childishness of Pisces that Pisces can have and like amps it up a bunch. So it's just this very like I think of it as like the ultimate kind of like Disney Pisces, the ultimate like a like like fantasy like furry Pisces. Does that make sense? Like that kind of like not saying that you're furry, but like that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, like anime, or I don't know.
Not even anime, because I feel like anime is straight up Pisces. Pisces, like the Gemini of Pisces is like maybe I don't know enough about animes, but I feel like I'm sure certain animes, but like very like yeah, like but that kind of vibe, like very like kitschy, very corny.
I don't know a lot about K-pop, but I feel like K-pop, you know?
Yeah.
It's like fan.
Yeah. I totally see that too.
Love that for you, Adam.
Um
Let's get to the other side of your interception with that Venus in Aries intercepted in the 10th. That's just like no one, you have this big burden on you to feel like you are valuable to society, but no one has ever affirmed that you are valuable to society.
yeah, like all you want to do is like make your mark and like be a person of prominence and like be a leader and like and do something creative and do something influential and like and do something very like that's in touch with your moon too with that like 12th house moon, but like just what probably winds up happening is like people don't take you seriously enough, or like whatever you project you can't live up to because your moon is too much of a mess, because you've got like your moon squaring both your midheaven and your Venus. So like your Venus and midheaven, like I said, wants to be like, I think of some kind of like artistic leader of some sort. I like to sound that makes sense, but like an artistic kind of like a like the kind of like not you're not a girl, but like a girl boss, like I'm like a owner of this kind of thing and da da da. But then your moon in Gemini in the 12th house is like always gonna get in your way because you're always gonna feel like a little lost kid at heart, and like you're gonna be too emotionally volatile to like be able to do all that. Like not aggressively emotional, like that's not the vibe I'm saying, but like too up and down, like too your emotions probably sometimes like lead you more than you lead them. So like it's hard for you to like keep a good like head in your like what am I trying to say? Like it's hard to get like to keep a good like head on your shoulders at work, especially because you know all these emotions are going on through at all times.
Yeah, I think that Gemini in the 12th house, especially with the moon there, is so overwhelming because first, Gemini in the 12th house, we know this. It's very overwhelming. Gemini moon, also very overwhelming. It's just like your subconscious is racing with thoughts. And the funny thing about Gemini moons is that they like Sagittarius moons often will find ways to like run away from what they're feeling, but Gemini moon doesn't run away, it just distracts. It just like needs to be multitasking all the time. And as soon as they're like confronted with kind of feeling bad about something, because like say that they're reading a book and they don't understand a word in the book, so they turn on the TV. Now they're trying to watch the TV and read the book just because they don't want to, they're just trying to distract themselves all the time and like multitasking.
Keep their mind busy, because if they're just reading a book then their mind can wander onto something else. So
Yeah.
what their mind needs to wander on is like, oh, I'll wander on the TV, and then you find up getting nothing done. Also, okay, last thing, if the moon in Gemini in the 12th house were like an alcoholic drink, it'd be like Yes Way Rose or like White Claw.
LaCroix isn't an alcoholic.
White Claw.
White Claw. Oh, yeah, duh.
But yeah, your drag me is actually concluded. I'm sorry about the tremendous amount of technical difficulties. I haven't really looked at the chat much because I've been having to use a different thing.
All I've been seeing you say, Adam, is WTF. That's good WTF.
I hope so. Somebody said this is not a wig. I'm sure it's pretty obviously not a wig. Somebody asked if my hair was a wig.
I don't know. Maybe that's something that the kids are saying nowadays. Like, I want your
Oh,
wig.
well, they say like wig, like it's like snatch your wig off, but
But yeah, let's get right into Ruby because we know that she's here and we know that she's very excited and we're a little late, so let's just jump right into it. Ruby, you are a Pisces with a Virgo moon and Scorpio rising.
John, I'm starting because I want to drag Pisces Sun Virgo moon, just Pisces Virgo combination. Now I love these energies. Like I mean, I have a love-hate relationship with these energies, and I think that having Pisces Virgo is great for the person to balance itself out, right? But I mean, Nina knows, like, these energies can drive me absolutely crazy. And, like, I'm obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I'm home right now and I'm with my dad. He's got Pisces Virgo energy. And I'm just remembering how much it doesn't make sense, how confusing it is, how frustrating it can be. Because, okay, like, I'm just going to expose my dad a bit. Like, not seriously, but like coronavirus, right? Your Virgo ass moon was petrified of it when it first started. Like you were probably one of the first people to be like, oh my God, like, right, you know, and you're like crazy about it. And you probably like, were like, I'm not doing anything, like you know, like almost went a little bit too far, which I mean, I think it's smart to take it very far, but I feel like your Virgo moon was like the people that I know that are Virgo moons right now, like have like aren't even doing Instacart. Like they refuse, they're being really, really crazy. And like, I mean, I'm being crazy, but they're being like too crazy. And but then as it gets later and later in this Corona time, your Pisces sun is like slowly having more and more trouble like caring or like you know keeping holding on to something for that long or like you know what I mean. And now you might just have gone like the complete opposite way. Like my dad at first was crazy and was like almost to the point where it was like rude, and now I'm the one having to tell him like, dad, you can't go to a bar right now. Dad, I need you to shower when you get home from the hospital. You're in the motherfucking hospital. Like, and like I'm trying to tell like you like, and he's always like, hey, wearing a mask and blah. And I'm like, you have to do this, father. And I feel like that's like Pisces Virgo is if it's convenient for their anxiety that like if it's their anxiety that's like freaking out, then it's like everybody has to follow their rule and do what they say. But if like for whatever reason their anxiety has decided to take a back seat, they're like, who gives a shit? And they like go too far the other way. And it's like, where's the happy medium, Virgo Pisces? Where's the happy medium?
No,
You know?
I think this is the thing. I think that with Virgo Pisces, it's like you are very, very anxious about all of the things, but you really just can't do anything about it. All you
Yeah.
can do is complain about it. When I see this combination, Pisces, Virgo, Scorpio, all I want to do is like become the mother hen Cancer rising that I am and like whisk you away through my arms and just rock you to sleep. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's okay. But like, here's my frustration with these energies is that I'm just like, I need you to take care of yourself because you need you to take care of yourself. And I can't do anything if you're not willing to help yourself. Like, oh my God, I could just like cry thinking about these energies. I'm just like, I love you so much. I need you to love yourself, Ruby.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
is.
And also just with that combination of being so emotional yet so anxious, it's like you're I don't know what the word is, but you're just like you've got like both ends of the having trouble dealing with life spectrum. You know what I mean? You've got the anxiety side and you've got the highly emotional side. You know, so I feel like being a Pisces, Virgo, and Scorpio combination is just like high maintenance. It's just like tiring. Just like sometimes you're like, can I have a break from all this shit that gets thrown at me? Especially because you have super duper malefic energies all kind of touching all touching your Scorpio rising. You got Mars in Scorpio in the 12th house conjunct. You've got Lilith in Scorpio in the first house. You've got Chiron in the first house. You've got Pluto in the first house. Like life is not taking an easy life is not an easy stroll for you. Like shit's always coming up. You're always having to deal with shit. And your Pisces sun in the fourth house doesn't fucking want to. It wants to fucking sleep. It wants to take a break. It wants to escape. But then your Virgo moon in the 10th house is like, but I must keep on going and be the best fucking person I could ever fucking be. And anytime that I slip up in the slightest, I am a disgrace to myself, my family, and all my loved ones. But also, all the shit's always going on in my life is so heavy, and also I'm just fucking tired.
Yeah, because like Virgos deal with their stress by like cleaning their house and getting organized and managing their shit. But Pisces deals with their anxieties, which are more on the emotional side, by like becoming a potato and ordering takeout and watching 12 hours of TV all in a row. And it's just like you can do that and make your Virgo moon anxious, or you can do what your Virgo moon wants and just like exhaust your poor Pisces self. So this is a really tough combination. It's hard to drag just because when I see this, I want to like I have very, very close people in my life with these energies that like I'm getting emotional just like dragging your chart. I don't want to drag it. I just want to like hold you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that that makes sense. What Nina said, it is like it's definitely, I think if your chart is like, we kind of sometimes will say this, like definitely more of like a birth chart reading chart than a drag chart. Like you have fifth house stuff, so you're like, haha, hee hee, fun, drags are fun, and so I feel like that's where this is coming from. But the reality of your main energies is like not haha, hee hee, fun, you know.
Yeah,
um,
I think that's interesting. Like the Pisces in the fifth house with Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter. That, and then your moon in the 10th house. It's like you do have outlets for this, which is really great for you. Like you have outlets for your emotional self. Like you have creative outlets and whatnot. My mom actually has fifth house in Pisces, which is just interesting because she's my mom and I know her children. And she is an artist. She's a really amazing artist. Um, and her Venus is also in Scorpio, and her art has to do with like transforming things. She's a ceramist. She takes a block of clay and she turns it into, beautiful artwork. So I love seeing that for you, that you have this,
yeah,
and with Scorpio energy as well, like you can transform what you're going through. I think you have like a lot of potential to take care of yourself. And then like your Virgo moon is interesting because it's like Virgo moon in the 10th house just seems like the total antithesis of everything else going on in your chart in
mm-hmm.
some ways, just because it's like take everything that you feel and make it practical. I feel like that's like with your fifth house Pisces and Venus in the fifth house, um, that it seems like take everything that you're feeling and turn it into something. So that's working for you in your favor. And then as a Scorpio rising, obviously, like that's the whole modus operandi, is like everything in your life is an opportunity to transform. So that's good. I'm really having a hard time tracking your chart, as you see. I'm just like, find the silver lining.
um, okay, I don't know if this is much of a drag, but it's also not like a good thing either. It's just like a thing that I've been trying to observe and think about because you have wealth in your first house, and I don't know if this is true for everyone who lives. I just there's two people that I know who live in the first house that I follow on Instagram that I've been like really thinking and like analyzing myself more of like how I think of them and like the impact of like me looking at somebody with Lilith in the first house, if that makes sense. But like I feel like when you have that placement, especially as a female, you're going to there's a potential to be just like so cool, so on your own lane, and so confident as a female that it can be like intimidating for other females, and that I feel like could be a polarizing thing. And because I was thinking about this one girl that I know that has Lilith in the first house, and how just kind of people like how cool she is, but yet how few people reach out to her, and how much like whenever I see her, I think like she's trying to be very friendly and like reach out, but to people, but like how do I explain this? Like you're just probably like if a female with Lilith in the first house goes up to a female that's not very secure, that doesn't feel very confident in themselves or very confident in being a female, then they're going to see your ability to just kind of do that and be unabashed and be almost like very intimidated by it and be turned off by it. So I feel like that can have a lot to do why you have also Chiron in the first house. Again, I'm sorry this is much of a drag, but like I feel like that might be why you are less disliked than you think you are. You're just people are much more I guess like almost scared of you, but not like but like just like my friends will like this person more, or like my boyfriend will like this person more, my girlfriend would like this person more because they're way cooler, they're way more confident, they're way more independent. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, like intimidated by you.
Yeah.
And being someone intimidating is very isolating in terms of relationships, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have tons. Oh my God, you got Chiron in the first house, Pluto in the first house, Lilith in the first house, both Liliths, in fact. Um,
You just got a lot of strong energy in the first house, like strong, subtle under the surface energy. Um, Let me see. Let's look at aspects. Is there any aspects? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. So your Saturn is in your sixth house, squaring your Neptune. And I was gonna say, like, this is your chart. I'm like, dang, how do you have Saturn in the sixth house? Like, that's not something that's going well for you. You know, trying to be regimented, like, as much as, like I said, you do have that Virgo moon. It's like it's not very happy. It's not the best aspect of being, and it's in a grand square with your chart. So with Saturn in the sixth house, you just like any time that you kind of act upon that Pisces or kind of neglect your health or neglect your things, neglect doing what you need to do, it like bites your ass so much. And I feel like with it square your Neptune, that is like kind of talking to almost that like Pisces side of you that's like your brain is like too much all over the place to be able to get your health in check. But like your health is constantly probably like doing things to fuck you over, or even just like like maybe like if you leave something out, like you're that bitch that gets bugs the next day and you're like, I left one thing out, you know?
This to me, Saturn in the sixth house square Neptune plus that Virgo moon in the 10th house is the 100% epitome of toxic fitness culture, being disillusioned by what
Yeah.
productivity should look like. Saturn
Yeah.
square Neptune, and then having it in the sixth house, meaning like be productive and move and so all this stuff, Saturn in the sixth house, Moon in Virgo in the 10th
And
house, it's like
Saturn in Taurus.
Saturn in Taurus, it's like be productive, be the best, be the epitome of health, uh, be just like the person who is the most on top of their shit. And with Neptune squaring it, even if it means starving yourself, even if it means getting no sleep, even if it means hating yourself, like that, all of this, it's like it's very hard for you to be happy with yourself because you have, first of all, really high expectations. Saturn in the sixth, Moon and Virgo in the 10th, but also unrealistic expectations for your productivity.
Yeah.
Neptune square Saturn.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like very disillusioned by the amount that you think that probably people do every day too. Like I feel like no matter what you get done, you feel like it'll never be enough or you're always doing less than other people. And you probably feel like you're like if you want to, you know, like, oh, I have like if you take a vacation day, you just judge it so much, but yet you feel like you're always taking vacation days, but yet you also feel like you're never taking vacation days. And you're probably just living in this weird kind of like in between period, which I feel like, yeah, like when I had my Saturn transiting my sixth house, I felt like I was constantly living in this like weird in between period of doing so much every day and being so busy, but then absolutely getting nothing done. And I feel like that's an issue that you have too.
Because it's also just like the feeling that you feel like you haven't gotten anything done if you haven't moved the whole world. You know,
Yeah.
if you
Or
have,
like you
go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was gonna say like, or it's like one of those things where it's like if somebody were to be like, hey, like somebody like that an old friend, you were to re-meet with them and they'd be like, hey, so what have you been doing? And if you couldn't fill up an hour conversation with all the stuff you've been doing, then that's not productive stuff. But yet you still need to keep on doing all these daily things, and your health is constantly getting in the way, and you have to do all these little blah, blah, blah. You never have time for the big things that you actually want to be doing.
And also, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to be popular and have a social life, that side of Saturn? Are you going to be like really well liked and admired by all of the people around you by, you know, attending networking events and all of that? Or are you going to go to bed at 10 so that you can wake up at 5 in the morning so that you can get 3 hours of workouts in before your workday at 8 a.m.? It's just like, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Super high expectations, super difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Sucks
Yeah.
for you.
Let me see if there's anything. If there's anything you specifically want us to drag, please let us know. The
Yes.
chat, I've been checking every now and then. It's weird today. The
Yeah, the
chat's
chat
really
is weird today.
weird.
And also, I don't know if it's me, but it hasn't been moving for a while.
Oh, then it's you, because it's weird. It's moving. No, I don't know. Okay, so let's see here. Any aspects? Honestly, your stuff in the fifth house is really well aspected. So again, I know this isn't a drag, but I think Pisces fifth house people are some of the most talented people. And yeah, Nina's mom makes really cool stuff, and some people that I know with Pisces in the fifth house, like the things that they can just make, they just have like a natural artistic ability. and you've got super well aspected, super positive planets in the fifth house. So I feel like that is like your saving grace. Like you're like, if I can just like, I'm a mess. I'm a total mess. I can't like, every life is very hard. Life is very stressful. Life is very serious, and also just like mentally exhausting. But if I can just create things, if I could just get my like do my outlet, do my creative outlet, like that's your happy place. That's where you feel confident in life. And I feel like that's what's kind of saving you and like what's keeping you going, you know?
I wasn't paying
Um,
attention. I'm reading the chat because it was frozen for me. So now I'm like catching up.
no
Um,
worries.
what else
Let
have we
me
got?
see some more aspects.
It's
Um,
like you have total genius mind with this
yeah,
Pisces fifth house stuff, and then your Neptune and Uranus in the third house.
yeah, total genius stuff for
Total
sure.
genius.
Have a lot of Scorpio energy. Yes, you do. Let's see here. Let's look at aspects. Um, I'm trying to think of a good like. Yeah. You just your chart is very like your aspects. I want to be like. Let's see, dragging Sun square Pluto. You have a very protective father, and you have a lot of control issues.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. You have this Saturn square Neptune, and then you have Moon opposite Sun, but you got your sun in the fourth house. So it's like moon opposite sun typically, I mean, it doesn't always mean this, but sometimes it just means that like, sometimes it means your parents aren't together. Sometimes it just means that your parents are really different and conveyed really different messaging to you. And then I was wondering like, oh, maybe is that Neptune square Saturn because like your dad wasn't around, but then it's in the sixth house and your son's in the fourth house. So I think they're probably like your parents are together, and if they're not, I would like look to your mom, like where's she? Maybe you have two dads because you got your your moon in the 10th house.
Let me see here. Trying to think of a drag like. Ugh, no, unimpressed by that. Like my drag that I was thinking. Let's see, Venus and Aries. I mean, you do have a very well aspected Venus and Aries in the fifth house, but I think that like the biggest problem with that is that like independence is great in a relationship and it's important to stay yourself, but like I feel like especially with all your Scorpio stuff, I feel like maybe the Venus and Aries is like a protection thing to just like needing to make sure that you are independent in love and that you are autonomous, which is an amazing thing. But I feel like maybe it can almost hinder you in relationships because maybe you have a lot of trouble, especially with the Virgo moon. Maybe I'm right. Having trouble giving a part of your life up, a part of yourself up, like, well, I think that you're able to give yourself emotionally, but I mean more of like a space and a time kind of way to another person. And I'm sure that you have a lot of guards up. And so I feel like you have the potential to kind of get in a relationship where it's like, yeah, I love how we're both super independent and super able to do our own thing. But then also, we haven't seen each other in a few days and we barely ever talk. And who are you? You know?
Yeah, you also just said that your parents are divorced. So that's
Mm.
a piece of data for the sun opposite moon people. And then you have this fourth house in Aquarius, right? And fourth house in Aquarius is really interesting. It's like really detached sense of home. Like me and Shaina know people who can just fall asleep anywhere because they can just somehow make themselves comfortable
Comfortable.
anywhere because they're uncomfortable everywhere. So like falling asleep in public and falling asleep at home is basically like the same thing.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Yeah, like my roommate has an Aquarius fourth house, and my first impression of him was over at his apartment, and we were like talking, and in the middle of a conversation, he started snoring, and there was like two other people around. We were having like a group conversation, and he was just like sleeping through it on the floor, and I was like, that's impressive. I was like, that's a skill. Like that's a comfort in your body that I will never achieve, and it definitely is coming from a discomfort, but it's a pretty impressive like what's the word like blah 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 strategy like an adaptive strategy or something, you know.
Yeah, it's just like he's probably was so uncomfortable the whole day that it's just like, oh, I gotta sleep now.
But he, oh,
No,
But
go.
yeah, that was your timer. So your time is up, Ruby. Thank you so much for the reading and for being so patient today, because I know you're super late. Or no, we're super late. You're not super late. You were early and you had to wait even longer. So we're so sorry. I'm gonna just be using my iPad from now on. I'm not gonna use this laptop again for doing Zoom calls. So sorry.
Yeah, thank you so much for your purchase and your patience, not only in receiving your reading in the long term, but receiving it today, and all of your lovely, nice comments in the chat. Thank you so, so much.
Yes, and we wish you nothing but luck and good fortune, especially with your chart. Good luck, girl.
Yes, we love you. I feel like your mother hen at the moment. I don't know what's with me.
But yeah, so
That is being so weird right now.
I know it keeps on like upping itself. But and I feel like the more we comment that it's weird, the more people are like, let's keep going, you know.
Yeah. We just want to make it so that I don't know if Julia is going to want to comment, because I know that she like wants to maintain some privacy in this.
Yeah. So maybe email Party Trick Astrology if you're here, if you don't want to message in the chat hi.
Yeah.
And then we will start the final drag of the afternoon. I was gonna say the evening. I don't know where my head's at, but let's see. No, I am not going to buy you food. Somebody has.
Says, sorry, I'm a Gemini. He said first, hi, farty trick astrology. He said, sorry, I'm a Gemini rising. I had to make a fart joke. And that is so true. Gemini risings and their immature humor. It's insane. Okay, Julie is here. And she's using a different YouTube name, so it's all good. But her name is Julia for this Drag Me show.
Yeah.
We got more Pisces energy in the house. In fact, you guys have birthdays right next to each other. Yours is March 2nd and Ruby's is March 1st. So I almost said happy birthday to you guys, even though it's like July. But yes, we've got Pisces in the house with Sagittarius moon and a Sagittarius rising. I've been thinking a lot of Sagittarius rising because I'm in my head. I'm really trying to make Sagittarius rising deeper than it is. And I'm trying to make Gemini descendant deeper than it is. I'm like,
that's so funny.
Why is it that? What does Gemini do to balance out Sagittarius? What is going on here? And it's just like, it is so basic, simple. It's not like, it's no Taurus, Scorpio. It's Gemini, Sagittarius.
I was gonna say I've been meaning to speak to this with you for a while, Nina. And since we're on a Sagittarius rising, now you do have this. Julia does have an interception, but I was always like Sagittarius rising. It seems like such a great setup, and I think that it makes sense that it's a great setup. But then I keep on thinking about America's chart, because America is a Sagittarius rising, and how that came to be, and how awful the Sagittarius rising placements can potentially be. Now I think that you mostly have Capricorn rising placements. Yeah, you pretty much have all Capricorn rising placements.
Which
So
are
honestly,
not the greatest placements.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, honestly, you're switching out like happy placements that can kind of be a bit for like just like that's hard to deal with. Sorry, placements.
You don't have the Capricorn rising, which is tough. And I think that the saving grace, because like the hardest thing about Sagittarius risings, I think, are the 8th house in Cancer and 12th house in Scorpio, which is not your case. You have all Capricorn rising house setups except for your ascendant and descendant.
Yeah, and what's interesting is you have Sun square Moon and intersected Cancer Capricorn. So I'm assuming either your parents are divorced and you're switching back and forth between them, or you only have one parent or something like that. And so that makes sense. Like, so you have all the Capricorn rising placements as though like you had to parent yourself, but yet you probably didn't have a strong enough like father figure around to be able to take on that energy. So you had to kind of like grow up a lot, like because like fourth house Aries is kind of rough. Eighth house in Leo is kind of like having a second like having a second sun in the eighth house. And just some other stuff shows like what was I gonna say? Like, yeah, just like you had to parent yourself. It's not the easiest thing going on, but yet, your Sagittarius rising, it's like I feel like there's a certain freedom to it, and that freedom could have even been like from discipline, you know?
Yeah, so you have a Capricorn Cancer interception, and you have your Neptune intercepted in the first house. And first of all, I've always called, not always, but I've often called our generation of Capricorn risings like the quintessential recovering alcoholic, because there's that Sagittarius 12th house, which is just addiction central. And then you've got that Neptune in the first house.
With Pluto in there? Oh my God, sorry.
Yeah, you got that Neptune in the first house. But then like with that Capricorn rising, you have the discipline to like stop at some point.
Right.
You don't
wake up.
with that Sagittarius rising.
And you're a Pisces with a Sagittarius moon. What discipline to stop do you have? Can I find any? That's now my mission.
You said your parents are not divorced, but you're convinced that they hate each other. So you have that Aries, I see, which is just like a cesspool for fighting in the home. Do you have anything else in your fourth house?
No.
No.
Well, Juno kind of cussing it, but.
So it's pretty much just that Aries and C. And as much as I was saying like Sagittarius rising, it's not great having Cancer in the eighth house. What's worse is having Leo in the eighth house. Terrible. Terrible placement for the eighth house. Again, it's like having your sun in the eighth house, but then you also get your sun in the third house. Fun time.
Yeah, but even with like having Leo in the eighth house, I feel like you don't get the benefits of having your sun in the eighth house, which are like, ooh, you're culty, mystique, like intuitive. Like you don't get that as much. You just get the like, you have to deal with this shit all the time, and you feel like your ego is dying and don't feel seen about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got big family stuff. Even though you don't have anything in the fourth house, Aries I see is already potent enough. And then you have this like who are mommy and daddy Cancer Capricorn interception.
Yeah, like looking for mommy in a relationship with that intercepted Cancer filling up most of your seventh house.
Yeah, but what's interesting about the Cancer intercepted in the seventh house, it's that like you feel, because you always have to remember that with interceptions, like there's a sign taking over that house. There's Gemini taking over this house in your case. So it's just like stay cheery, light, and like fun and because of that, you have to like not be vulnerable.
Yeah. Oh my God. And also I feel like with that double Sagittarius with intercepted Capricorn, me and Nina will say a lot, like Sagittarius, Capricorn do a lot to balance each other out, because Sagittarius can be endless optimism and Capricorn can be endless pessimism. And so I really think that they need each other because you got to have a little bit of both. And you are definitely lacking in that, not like, I mean, I guess pessimism, but also kind of like it's this attitude that like everything will be okay, which I think that you need to have that attitude to keep going in life, absolutely. But it goes a little bit too far to where it doesn't even want to acknowledge the bad. Does that make sense? Like it doesn't even want to really face facts, research too much into things that will make you sad or like, I don't know. I was talking to my aunt last night who's a Sagittarius, and I was just like, well, you can't just, because she was going on this rant about how, to be positive and keep going. But I was like, well, you can't, and how she doesn't want to see some stuff, and how she's just like, I don't want to look at it. And I'm like, well, that's just saying kind of oh my God, am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay. That's just kind of like staying woefully ignorant and not doing almost like your civic duty to educate yourself on things and to stay informed and to stay honest. And then you'll kind of be acting out of this place that's a little bit like inauthentic almost, if that makes sense.
Right, because like at the end of the day, Sagittarius and Capricorn work so well together because they're signs building up on top of each other. And you get Sagittarius, which knows how to like put their aim on something and really have the optimism to believe in themselves so that they can do anything that they want. But then you need Capricorn to like put the work in to get to that goal that Sagittarius set. And on top of having your Capricorn interception, you are super, super Jupiter because your Pisces Sun, Sagittarius Moon, Pisces Mercury, Pisces Venus, right? So, and Pisces is ruled by Neptune, but traditionally ruled and modernly co-ruled by Jupiter. And Pisces and Sagittarius, first of all, are you Sun and Moon square? Yes?
Yeah, they are.
Ooh, I just got like some costochondritis. Your Sun and Moon are square, so that's another, we can confirm that your parents hate each other.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, when you said like you think they do, and even if they don't, like when you said that like you think they hate each other, that has still impacted you and it's still valid. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And they just have like, even if they don't hate each other, they have very different perspectives, and that messed with like you figuring out what is the truth. So all you have is like your faith. And I don't
for
think,
real.
oh, if you're a Christian, then like all you have is your Christianity. All you have is like a sense of faith that hopefully everything will turn out okay. And
I don't even feel like it's super religious-y. I feel like it literally just, you need, like, you're like, I need faith to keep going in life. Like, just faith that I'm okay and that I can keep going and that things are, like, will be okay. Like, without that, I feel like you would have, like, crumbled because you said, like, I think my family is insane. And so I'm sure that you needed to, like, and I think that, like, a little bit of that insanity has kind of, like, gone into you. And I feel like that's kind of, like, your sun square moon being, like, these are insane parts of me, but I'm going to try to keep them in check by constantly checking each other and looking over going, are you doing this? You know what I mean? And like obsessively checking yourself, you know?
But you know, as I think about it, faith faith implies that you believe in something and that will have some kind of effect on the physical world. Yeah. But without that Capricorn, with your Capricorn intercepted, it's like, it's almost, faith might not be the exact right word. It's just like pretend, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Pretend that everything's okay.
Faith into the pretend.
Sagittarius in the 12th house, it's just like, go off into this wonderful world and pretend that everything's going to be okay. How much do you care about that manifesting in the real world? Not that much, because you're pretty happy in your own head. You know what we haven't done in a while is a good old fashioned Saturn and Aries drag.
Sure. Is it okay if I drag something first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh wait, I just really want to read this. Yeah, I don't subscribe to a certain religion, but I feel like I've always believed things can never turn out too badly. And in reality, my family's crazy, but my life's been pretty smooth and cushy. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, I think that there's definitely like, to have Pisces, a Pisces sun, there has to be some sort of comfort, some sort of cushiness, you know what I mean? Some sort of protective shell almost in Pisces. But okay, I want to drag Mars in Libra because I feel like I'm living with somebody with a Mars in Libra, or like I was, whatever. I'm all over the place. And I'll get mad at her Mars in Libra, but then I'll be like, oh yeah, I've done that. Or like I'll catch myself doing it, and it's just so dumb. Like something that I realized that Mars and Libras can even do is not realizing that they're being passive aggressive. Like literally not even doing it purposefully, like it's that passive. Just like I can accidentally have a certain tone with my voice and I won't mean it, or like or like even I'll say something like if something really doesn't bother me, but the person is like, this would be something that might bother somebody, even if it doesn't bother me, and if I say no, it doesn't bother me, it sounds like it bothers me, and I sound like a bitch, and it sounds like I'm trying to fucking say something else, and I'm, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, why can't I just calm down, you know? Like I'm calm, but like there's this tone that Mars and Libra can get that's like makes me want to punch myself in the face, punch other people with Mars and Libra in the face. It's like let's say we're going on a walk and somebody's like, let's try, like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Like let's cross the street because let's just cross the street, and you know, the Mars and Libra feels like we've been taking, you know, the Mars and Libra feels like they've been taking their route the whole time, you know, and the Mars and Libra wants to go on this side, and they'll be like, oh, sure, yeah, we'll just do what you want. We'll just cross the street because that's what you want, you smarty pants. Like that kind of, like that kind of like really fucking tone, and I fucking hate it. And sometimes I'll hear it in me, or like I'll think it, or sometimes like I'll hear it from the person I'm living with, and like nothing gets me more heated than that tone. But yet I fucking do it. It's so hypocritical. um
Yeah, and someone said like hypocrite, like or hypocritical, LOL. And I think that like the what's the word? The kind of like mind fuck of Mars and Libra is that like Mars and Libra is consistently hypocritical. But what's so hypocritical about Mars and Libra is that Mars and Libra always wants to do the right thing, but it's consistently doing the wrong thing by not being straightforward about it. And that's super frustrating about Mars and Libra. And here's something that is such nail on the head of Mars and Libra drag. Me as a Mars and Libra, hearing all of this, Shaina saying all of this, and like I get annoyed with my Mars and Libra as well. I get annoyed with other people's Mars and Libra as well. It's in its detriment. It's not a good position for Mars.
Yeah.
And Mars and Libra also always wants to be liked. So I'm hearing Shaina complain about Mars and Libra, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing the wrong thing always. I'm making it so that people don't like me. Oh no. And it's just so frustrating because Mars and Libra is always trying to make it so that no one's upset, so that everyone likes everyone likes them, but we're so misguided on how to do that.
Yeah, and that's another thing is like sometimes, what was I just lost my train of thought. With Mars and Libra, it's like, yeah, like you're never trying to upset the other person, but you kind of always, no, well, I fucking lost what I was actually going to say. Well, there you go. Because you're talking about Mars, what, I don't know.
How we're hypocrites.
How
we always want to be liked, but we do things that are super unlikable in an attempt to be liked.
Yeah, it's just like that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I guess it's not important. Whatever. Okay.
Let's move on to Saturn in Aries, which, like us, you have Saturn in Aries opposite your Mars in Libra. Good for you. So I'm reading this book called Atomic Habits. Anyone who knows me knows that I love a good productivity, self-help book, whatever. And like me as like a very 6th house, Saturn in the 10th house person, I read the book and I'm like, oh yeah, I totally have been doing what James Clear is like telling you to do in this book without even thinking about it. But at the same time, like, because the book is about being as like frictionlessly productive as you can possibly be. And I do some of those things.
What does that mean,
frictionless? Like there's no friction and it's so effortless.
You're just being productive and you just don't mean to be.
Yeah, it's just like there's no effort that you really need to take in being productive.
That's such a like Mars and Libra approach. Yeah?
Well, no, it's just like the path of least resistance, but getting the most done.
Oh, so it's like work smarter. What is it?
Well, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
That's a little bit thrown in there. And I'm like, yeah. I do this. I've been habit stacking my whole life. Didn't even know, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, oh, and you can also do this. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I would never do that. That Saturn in Aries. It's like, what? No. He even brings up a lot about like human psychology and why it's like, oh, here's a simple example. You're going to want to do this because when you're at a green light, you press the gas to go. And I'm like, do you though? Why would you do that if you could also, like, I don't know, press the gas to go before the light turns green?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's very Saturn in Aries. Like trying to be ahead of things too much to where it's just like it makes it harder in the long run. Like
Yeah.
I'll do that. I think that's a Saturn in the Aries thing. Like we always take cooking as like the biggest Saturn in Aries example just because it's so easy. But like in cooking, I've realized that I'll do this because like if I'm cooking with my roommate Dan, he's the opposite of me. Like if I cook as I go, I clean and I put things away. And honestly, Greta does too, and she's also Saturn and Aries. So I think that is like a thing. Like as you cook, you put it away and you try to like you're like, yeah, go, 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 right? But sometimes like I'll wind up putting shit away, but like I'll always need that stuff again. I'll have to go and get it back out. I'll clean something and then realize I need a plate. Like that I just clean. And so it winds up being so much, I'm doing so much more than I need to be because I'm trying to be like productive, but I'm not like thinking before doing. I'm just doing it all because I'm seeing it and going, this needs to be done. And I have a second, but I'm not like, does this need to be done right now or would it be smarter to do it later? But I'm like, done now because now.
Yeah, something that I can't stand, like, first of all, if the recipe says like, now put this in the oven that you started preheating at the beginning, if it's not done preheating, it's going in the oven.
Yeah, of
And
course.
then,
It's just gonna sit there until
and then like also, the like potatoes are still cooking in the oven, like there's still like 5 minutes left on the timer, but also like I'm done doing everything else. And the only thing that's keeping me from eating now is taking the potatoes out of the oven. Well, I'm just going to take the potatoes out of the oven.
Yeah,
Even though
exactly.
one, they haven't finished cooking. Two, I put them in before it was completely preheated, so it's like doubly not finished cooking. But like I can't
because it's like the wrong time.
wait. I can't just sit around and wait. Imagine sitting around and waiting. Who? What? No.
What's that? I don't have patience. I remembered really quickly. The drag is up, but since I took forever to try to remember what I was going to say earlier, because it was going off of like what you said of like Mars in Libra wants to be as like wants to do what's right at the end of the day, especially with arguments and like what's the word like and like any issue that comes up, conflict exactly. And I was talking to my roommate as I always do, right? And we were just talking about like what we think should happen in the world, like trying to see what just talking things out as we like to do. And my Mars in Libra like is so like I've always been super 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 pacifist, like super super against war, violence, killing, like all that stuff ever since I was really little. And like even if my Mars, like even if the rest of my chart is like in this specific circumstance, there needs to be some kind of violence. My Mars in Libra has so much trouble like getting behind that or believing that or just like it's just like I just like can't. And it's been like and it's frustrating because sometimes it's not and again, not that I'm like trying to say like I will always be against war, but sometimes things don't happen without a little bit of bloodshed or rioting. And so like but it's just like my Mars and Libra will always like as much as my Capricorn ass will be like, yeah, do what needs to be done. You're like your Sagittarius is like, yeah, passionate. If this one needs to be done, then this is what needs to be done. But your Mars and Libra is gonna always be like, but except for the possibility of hurting anybody, even if it's somebody that possibly deserves it or has done the same, it's just like, how can I do that? And it just is like a little bit too far sometimes. It's like pacifist to the point where it's just like unrealistic. Does that make sense? But I can't out talk the fact that I can't do it. I can't do it,
Yeah, I think that like one of the things that this shows up in me a lot is veganism, because we're both vegan and obviously vegans have a big like reputation of being mean or aggressive or whatever. And I've
I
watched
see.
a lot of like I've watched a lot of content, like talks, documentaries, all of this stuff about the science of social change and why, you know, sometimes kind of aggressive measures need to be taken in order to
Exactly.
shift societal consciousness. But
Mhm.
I'm like so against that too. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I know that you need to do that, but I'm just like, don't ever upset anyone. And then at the end, but then I'm also like, if you don't ever upset anyone, then they'll never be upset about the fact that, like,
yeah,
you know. See, I'm having
exactly.
a hard time like even saying it in words because I'm like, I don't want to upset anybody.
No, but I totally see what you're saying. I think that's totally like a Mars and Libra thing because it's like it's that ultimate. It's like the ultimate Mars and Libra thing. You want things to be right, but when things that are right is violence, you're like, I don't compute because violence isn't right, but that's right now. Like,
Or not even just violence, but like upsetting people.
yeah. Like it all kind of I definitely have more of a fine chillness with upsetting people, but there is that thing. I think especially with you because you've got Pisces Sag energy, you're not gonna want to upset people. You don't have Capricorn in you, you know. So you
Yeah.
probably really relate to
And with
that.
that Capricorn interception, you are like, it's hard to like do the right thing more often with an intercepted Capricorn. So because like Capricorn is about individuating oneself and getting to the top of the mountain. But if you don't have that in you, you're going to be more likely to kind of like give into the whims of the many, you know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying for sure. Yeah, upsetting people makes me so anxious and uncomfortable.
I
Yeah,
know.
and I think that you can give up some, and I think especially with your Pisces, like you might give up some of your individuality or individual thinking for keeping everybody okay, like emotionally, because that Pisces, you know, there's a lot more of an emotional thing behind it. I can't even watch movies where people get really upset. Oh, that makes sense. You're like, you're upset. Like they hurt them. I never hurt them. But yeah, thank you so much, Julia. That
Yes.
was your drag me reading. Thank you for being patient. We know we are like 40 minutes late or something terrible.
And thank you to Adam and Ruby as well. Thank you everyone who participated in this Drag Me show in whatever way you did. And we will see you in our, oh, wow. I just did my pet peeve. I just did my Mercury and Capricorn pet peeve.
So we will see you.
Yeah, we'll never
See us.
well, unless you order a Zoom reading one-on-one, then we will see you. But you will see us in the next Drag Me reading. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for being patient with us. And more importantly, me, especially if you've ordered a reading and it's taking a little more time than normal. We're getting back on a better track now. A lot of stuff has just been happening in my life. So thank you for being patient and everybody's been so kind in the emails and everything.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.